Hello and welcome to another Fat White Guy movie review. I'm Steve.
Josh.
Today we're going to be talking about Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. We'll also touch on Part 1. Part 2 is released this weekend in the theaters and it's huge. It's blowing up. It's making great numbers.
Big money.
And yeah, it's just boom out there. And so that's what we're going to talk about today is Part 2, and again we're going to touch on Part 1. So what did you think about it?
Part 1 was you have to preface it to really enjoy Part 2. And Part 1, the whole film is set away from the school, and whenever you leave the Hogwarts school, it's like taking away a character to me.
Yeah, the Hogwarts adds that mystical, fantastical part of Harry Potter that draws everybody into it. Yeah. Whether you want to admit it or not, everybody wishes they had a wizard hat. Everybody wishes a wizard hat would pick them for a club, and everybody wishes they could ride around on a broomstick. And it gives it that little childish feeling that is directly relational for the 7-year-olds, and it grabs at the 70-year-olds because they want to be back there, you know. Yeah. And so, like you're saying, you remove that element, and
it's like a whole character's gone, and that's what made Part 1. Though it's not a bad film, it's a little bit less appealing for me. And the tone. Don't forget about the tone. The tone is as the films have progressed, you know, Part 1, it really is a kid's film. And as the characters have gotten older, the tone has gotten a lot darker. I mean, this is a dark film. It's very moody. You can still take your kids to watch it, but you're probably going to need to watch it with them. Because it really, there are a couple scenes in there that are really suggestive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And anyways, the whole setup of Part 1 is 2.5 hours of setup, and it feels a lot like homework, because to really enjoy Part 2, you gotta watch Part 1. And we'll just go ahead and say Part 1 is watched, and Part 2, it takes off. It really does. It takes off. It is a non-stop action flick where you have wizard battles and ogres and werewolves and all kinds of junk hopping out of the woodwork. And it's just like they're going to find the Horcrux here, and then they're going, you know, into the vault here, and they're doing all these things, and it just keeps going.
With the exception of the times where people are sitting and just staring. There was a lot of, in this movie, there was an absolute lot of this going on.
That was mesmerizing. And I don't know why you're downplaying that. That was amazing. If
you cut out all the parts where they do that, it's about an 1.5 hour movie. Now, admittedly, I know this up front that because I have not watched the 6 films before these, I watched Part 1 when it came out 20 years ago or whenever, and you know, when things come out and I know there's going to be 6, 7, 8 of them, it's hard for me to watch them as they go because I don't want to have to wait. So a lot of times I'll wait till they're all out and then watch them all at once. It's just how I roll. Well, with this one, to get this review in, I didn't have time to go and watch 24 hours of Harry Potter. As much as I'd love to call into work, because I love Harry Potter, love the concept, love the whole series. It's just awesome. But with this, when I went into it, all the staring off into space was really distracting. And I know if I'd seen everything, I would appreciate it and go with it and it wouldn't bother me. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to tell you this, 1 and 2, it's not a standalone couple. It's not a standalone movie. You better have some background. You better watch everything before it, because Part 1 I watched at the house. It was cool. I could get up and go cut the grass or whatever in between. Not that it was boring. I was lost. You've got to watch the other films. Part 2 in the theater, I was staring at my nacho bowl, wishing it could refill. Wishing I was a wizard so I could have more nachos, so I at least knew something about something in this theater. And that's not taken away from the movie. Again, it's telling you, be prepared when you go to watch this. It's not a standalone movie.
You've got to do your homework on this, because there's so many loose ends to get tied up, because essentially Part 1, the story, it all is super connected, and it's Part 2 of this, the Deathly Hallows Part 2 is a 2-hour finale for everything else that's been before it. It's a 2-hour giant finale where they're tying up every loose end, and they're doing it in a very action-oriented way. and it's just really cool. And I can understand what he was saying about the characters kind of staring off into space. Being, you know, that I watched all of them and I really love these characters. I like that aspect. And
like I said, once I watch it, I know I'll have an appreciation for it. And I know had I watched it before, it wouldn't have even stood out to me. Because I know from what I did watch and read of Harry Potter that I could easily fall into the storyline and not re-immerse until it's over and then be like, wait, where's the rest, you know? I love it. I know I'm going to love every bit of it. But I'm just saying that to illustrate that don't go in this thinking you're just going to watch it and get something out of it by itself. Because if you don't know the backstory, the history or whatever, it's boring.
It is certainly not a standalone.
It's some great scenery. Some great action.
Oh, man.
I mean, if you can just watch it, just enjoy the action and walk away and don't care about that you have no clue what just happened, go, fine, whatever. But if you want to get your full $10 worth, you better spend some time watching some DVDs before you go.
So what do you think of the 3D aspect of it?
Well, the 3D, to me, 3D is just a tag thrown on the movies this day to get an extra $3 out of you. Because while it does watch in a better detail, it is a better... it's like watching your old analog TV and now watching HD.
Yeah.
It's like that. But when you tell me a movie's 3D, you know, I want stuff coming out at me. I want to jumping at me. I want to be in my seat doing this. When you tell me 3D, that's what I think about. Now they're just throwing 3D on everything that comes out of the damn theater. Yeah. And it's like, now it's just, they should just call it HD, really. Because when I go and pay $3 for these glasses, oh, and by the way, I didn't get my Harry Potter glasses.
It's a big deal, folks. It's a very big deal.
Not really sure why you're jesting about it, but I really thought I was going to get some Harry Potter shaped 3D glasses, but evidently it was opening night only. So if you have access to Harry Potter shaped 3D glasses, unopened or opened, I guess.
You're even going to take the open ones.
Well, yeah. I mean,
he really wants these glasses, folks.
Beggars can't be choosing. But send them to me because I need them. I really want them. I wanted to wear them during this review, but I was gypped.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, 3D, you know what, don't go watch it because you think you're going to get 3D effect interaction. It's definitely greater graphics and detail, and you do see some depth in the screen. That's fine. But...
it's not really jumping out at you. You're not ducking and doing all that.
You don't walk away talking about what a great 3D movie it was. You can stand outside that theater all day, and as a matter of fact, take any movie that's their billing is 3D these days, and I will give you $10 for every person that walks out of the theater and says, "Man, that was an awesome 3D movie. I'm glad we watched it in 3D." It will not happen.
You know what? The last one is really Avatar. That was the last 3D movie. That if Avatar wasn't 3D, it probably wouldn't have been a very, very successful film. I mean, in the two-dimensional aspect of it, it doesn't hold up as well as the 3D.
Well, so I mean, if
it's not worth the extra money.
Well, you know, that's all subjective. I mean, if you want the better quality screen, you know, like I said, it's like watching analog TV versus the 3D. You know, in some instances, I can tell you, it's not really worth the $3 to me, and it's not worth the distraction of the glasses sitting on my face.
That's a big deal.
So I could have definitely done without it. But I thought I was getting Harry Potter shaped 3D glasses, so. I kicked in the extra $3 for it or whatever it was, and I also circled around and went back to the concession stand and said, "Hey, can I get my glasses for my movie? I didn't get them because I was going to get me an extra pair unopened in my pocket." Got in the damn theater, and every one of them was just regular whatever.
That sucks.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, you were just.
So whatever, but yeah, but it was a good movie, fantastic, great. I mean, it's the.
So what do you rank Part 1 on the 10 scale?
Well, Part 1, and I'm gonna give it 2 rankings. 1 for if I was not gonna watch Harry Potter ever again, and then I'm gonna tell you it was about a 4 or 5. Woo. That's not because the movie was bad. It's because I have no clue what you cannot watch. You're never gonna sit down and just watch that movie and appreciate it. You might watch it and like the wizardry and like the coolness and the blah blah blah, but you're never gonna appreciate it for the story is. So I have to give it a 4 or 5. But knowing that I will go back and I will rewatch or watch all of the movies, and I know that I will thoroughly enjoy it based on that, I will give it a super solid 7.
Mm.
And I'm going to tell you the same thing about part 2. Same thing again. Based on what I saw, I will give it, like you said, because of all the action stuff, instead of the 4 or 5, I'll give it the 5 or the 6, right? If I was never going to watch Harry Potter again. But again, because I know that I will, and I know I will garner that appreciation for it that comes from watching all the movies that came before it, then I'll give it a super solid 7 and maybe an 8 as well. Not knowing, I'm just going to say 7 to be safe, but I can also, I'm aware enough of everything to let you know it's not a bad movie.
Yeah.
So.
Overall, I give part 1, it's an above average film. It's very solid. Being away from Hogwarts took a lot of it away from me, because Harry Potter is great. Hogwarts really is the character that I really enjoy. Yeah. I mean, the whole, everything about the school that's what Harry Potter is to me. And without that character, part 1 really drops down just a little bit, and it's above average. And I'll give it a 6. And you have to watch it to really understand part 2. You really have to watch part 1 to really grasp and fully enjoy part 2. And part 2, I'm gonna give it. It is probably the best popcorn movie of the summer so far, and it is just so much fun. I'm gonna give it an 8. A really solid 8, and this is a film that you go to the theater to watch. It is definitely something that you get everybody together, and everyone goes and watches this film, because seeing it on a big screen and with the big sound and everything, it is worth getting out of the house and going to watch. So overall, I'm going to give part 1 a 6 and part 2 an 8, and it is definitely a must-watch for the summer. And be sure, like I'm saying, you gotta go ahead and get the Blu-ray or the DVD of part 1 and watch it just before you go to watch part 2.
Yeah. And make sure you see all the other ones too, because that definitely helps. And also be aware, kind of a spoiler, but be aware that there is a semi-nude scene in part 2 where Ron is having a vision of Hormone and Harry Potter kissing.
Hormone.
It's not, it's not like just blatant porno, but it's something they shouldn't have done. It may or may not be caught.
It's done with special effects, so it's not an actual picture. It's more of a less an illuminated facsimile of them. They're like little light characters.
No.
But it is very suggestive. It's very suggestive.
Yeah.
So, like I said, the tone has become much more adult over the course of the films.
And I will also tell you this, in case you're not in tune enough to have figured it out, this will not be the last Harry Potter.
Really? You don't think so?
It absolutely will not. I saw it. I don't have to see all the other 6 movies to tell you this will not be the last one.
We're not gonna give it away. We're not gonna give it away because the ending is I think it's pretty good. I enjoyed it. So this is rated as a must-watch for me in the theater. And what do you say it's a...
I'm going to predict that once I watch all the other ones, it'll be a must-watch for me as well.
So, well...
Yep, thanks for joining us. Be sure to leave comments below. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Share the video, like it. Subscribe if you hadn't already. If you have any ideas or suggestions or something you want us to watch, just let us know.
We'll watch about anything.
Yep. Until next time, we'll see you. Take care.
Y'all take care.